So here we are, this week's edition of What the Preacher Forgot to Say. So on Sunday we were looking at Mark chapter 2 into chapter 3, this series of stories, one after the other, that that take us to the end of a section and finish off with that classic thing, Jesus healed them all. And these stories the thing is with these stories, they're all about Sabbath. They're all about opposition, not necessarily opposition from what we consider really evil people, opposition from people who are meant to be really good. And they're about what Jesus can and can't do on the Sabbath, what's real holiness and whatever. And looked at those on Sunday, and it's worth looking at it. But what I suppose more to tease out of this is just the fact that the people who were against Jesus, those who were questioning Jesus, were essentially in their hearts, well, they're not good. They're kind of good people. They go, or at least they're chasing after goodness. And at one point, it's the Pharisees and the disciples of John the Baptist are both saying, "Hey, why are you not being essentially? Why are you not fasting? Why are you not being more holy? Why are you just eating and drinking? It just looks like you're not taking your religion seriously." This was the Pharisees who they so wanted the olden days, the glory days, the purity of Israel, particularly with Rome coming against them. It's like, gosh, we've got to hold on to what we've got. Ultra conservatism, for all good reasons, got to hold on to it. We might consider ourselves as quite like the Pharisees, where we might look back at this was once a Christian nation, and a lot of people believed in God and used the Bible, and there were prayers read, and okay, not everyone went to church, or if people went to church, they didn't even believe it. So that's not good. But there was a lot of the, I don't know, goodness around, and people basing laws on what the Bible said. That is eroding. And therefore in our hearts we go, gosh, just want that back. How do we defend Christian faith against this erosion? And so we're keen to, we've got to keep defending this thing. And that's not a bad thought. So the Pharisees they haven't got bad motivation in the sense they know that there's a holiness in their Old Testament and the commands of God, and they want to keep it. But something happens in their hearts that then becomes as bad as secularism, another faith, a lack of faith, whatever. You got them, and then you got these John the Baptist disciples who are brilliant and really going for it, and hey, come on, let's get real with this. And they've got this fantastic way of living, which is ultra radical spiritual lifestyle. And Jesus had obviously joined that. He gets baptized by John, which kind of shows that he's part of that movement, that radical lifestyle movement. So he was part of that, and so they're attacking him, going, oh, kind of, hey, you were part of us. What's happened to your faith? It's like you don't even care anymore. John the Baptist was brilliant and he really cared, and you don't care. So Jesus being opposed by people who have got really passionate faith for different reasons. And when you're surrounded by people with passionate faith, it's very easy to feel bad, isn't it? It's very easy to feel, oh gosh, yeah, I'm not living rightly. And you just think of all the things, for us, we're not Jesus, so we have got reasons to think we're not doing so well. But when you're surrounded by people with passionate faith, radical faith, strong arguments about holiness, it can be quite oppressive, and it can be quite hard to work out, am I doing the right thing or not? Jesus was his Jesus, but nevertheless, this must have been quite a threat to him. Anyway, it's story after story. So it's about the fasting. It's about breaking the Sabbath by eating on the Sabbath. It's then coming into the synagogue. There's someone there who needs some help, and even in the Old Testament, you can help someone on the Sabbath. But what they've kind of taken it to this nth degree, and Jesus he says, is this for giving life or taking life, for destroying or healing, whatever? And then there's this line, and it says he looked round at them grieved, I guess, in his own heart, and angry because of the hardness of their hearts. And just a thought about where religion can take us if we're not being filled with the Spirit. So the fruit of the Spirit is the thing we're going for rather than religion. And even rather than defending what we've got in the UK, how do we act? What happens is you can get so determined about your point of view, that's a good point of view, but so determined that your heart goes hard. And this is Old Testament, New Testament. Hardness of heart is the thing that just makes God despair. Right at the beginning, actually, in Genesis, there's God is grieved in his heart. Regrets, it says, you regrets making humanity even. Because of the sin, because people are so far away, they so don't care. He's grieved in his heart. And when I read this, I think back to the Genesis thing of, oh my goodness, it's as bad as that. Hardness of heart is just the worst thing. And it can happen to people who hate God and hate Christianity and hate faith. They can be hard of heart. And also it can happen to people who are Christian, have the Bible, have prayer, and somehow in their zeal to get it right, they have hardness of heart. And this grieves Jesus. He's deeply saddened by it. It's like, oh no. And there's an anger in him as well, because there's a lostness with a hardness of heart. And he so wants to soften our hearts. He so wants us not to get into the trap of pride, either pride that we've got it right, pride that we our own thoughts or rules on Christianity, whatever they are, whether new thoughts we've got or older thoughts that we're clinging to. When that becomes heavy truth and we impose it on other people, it no longer sets people free, it binds them up. Even if it's kind of good and right in its essence, when we push it on people, it doesn't set them free. So Jesus is all for Sabbath. He's all for rest. He's all for withdrawing. He's all for holiness. He's all for all these things that the Pharisees are for. He's all for being in the synagogue. He loves the laws. He appreciates the laws. He sees where they're coming from, the heart of God. He loves it all, and yet he doesn't use it to oppress other people. He sets people free. And just something for us as we're in this kind of dark age where, I don't know, there's such sin, there's such greed around, there's such poverty around, there's an attack of who Jesus is, there's a rebellion against God, there's a kind of atheistic spirit, there's, I don't know, a dislike of the Bible, all these things. And we want to defend, and we, of course, we want to defend our God and Jesus and the Word of God and the tradition of Christianity through Europe and whatever. Of course we do, but at the same time, we've got to have soft hearts, hearts of love, taking all this truth and then offering it as a gift to people rather than holding it onto it and condemning people because they don't live up to it, they don't believe it, they don't follow it. And yeah, it's quite a thing. Hardness of heart. So how's our heart? Is your heart soft, loving towards God and towards people, or has it become hardened over time because of your own disappointment, frustration, despair, loneliness, anger, all those things? So Jesus' heart didn't become hard when he was angry and grieving, but our hearts might do. So let's just look after them, come to Jesus with them and say, come and heal me and set me free.